Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Nguyen, and the Insider crew.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 117. Around the table, we have, of course, Manny Albin, Damon Lowney, but we have a special guest today, a 41-year PCA member, past parade chair, and we often refer to him when we're talking about that beautiful speed yellow Cayman S that he has
so badly.
That we're trying to do paper, scissors, rock, and to see who's going to be able to buy that car because it's mint. We have PCA's National Vice President, Ron Gordon. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
How many miles do you have on that Cayman?
30,000.
30,000. It's an 06 or 07?
07.
07.
Nice. Speed yellow.
And that car pretty much is ready to go on a Concours field at any time.
I think most cars that Ron owns is ready to go on the Concours field.
If they start.
Well, that's the English car that he owns.
Yeah. We won't talk about his English cars. That will go on for an hour easily. But
no, he's got some pretty cool English cars. You have one that ran at Sebring, wasn't it? Was it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But tell us about that one.
Yeah, it's a Sebring Sprite, so Sterling Moss drove it. And they used to have a 4-hour race before the 12-hour race for low displacement cars. So he ran that car in 60. So
Sterling Moss drove your car.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
super cool. That's pretty cool. So did you get into Porsches before British cars or British cars before Porsches?
British cars because I couldn't afford a German car.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Were you into American muscle cars before
No.
British?
No.
So where did the European car come from?
You know, it was interesting. I grew up in Cumberland.
Mecca for British cars.
Well,
They did races there.
actually, it was.
Yeah.
Really?
Because
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did an SCCA national race there.
The airport, right?
And that really
yeah.
spawned a lot of dealerships. So we had a Triumph dealer, we had a Healy dealer, an MG dealer in Cumberland.
That's
so
a
there's-
factoid. I did not know. That's pretty
And that
cool.
making fun of the
I know.
Cumberland.
I wasn't making fun of Cumberland.
Yes,
folks.
you were. Yes, you were.
I was just making observation. I didn't realize British cars was a thing in Cumberland.
Remember, Ron, in Columbia, the sun is here. Everything revolves around
Exactly.
Columbia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, welcome. I know we're going to be talking about Porsche Parade Birmingham coming up here soon, but we've got a couple other things, and feel free to jump in on any of the topics. But before that, I wanted to share two tools. Manny recently wrote up the article of tools you must have, or something like that.
10 tools you didn't know you needed.
You need it. That's right. So I have more tools for you, and I'll be very quick. And these are two fairly inexpensive. One is very inexpensive tools that you'll want to consider. So
This is actually on the list.
it is on the list.
Uh-huh.
This one is on the list. Okay. So how many times have you been under a car, especially if you're working on an exhaust and you're wrenching and a piece of rust falls into your eye? So I always wear safety glasses. But when we were working on the 996, we had some up close work that even though I'm mid-40s, I needed to wear my little plus
Mid-40s?
mid-40s. In between 40 and 50 is mid-40s. Thank you very much. So I was like switching between my safety glasses and my reading glasses, which got kind of annoying. So lo and behold, I didn't realize they made safety glasses that are, okay, I hate to say it this way, but they're bifocals, and they have a plus, you can do a plus 1 point whatever add, and they're cheap and they work really, really well. Pretty cool.
I told him, I said, now you know what the torque setting is.
Yeah, because
Before he was just feeling it like Braille.
Good enough. Bolt doesn't break, it's good enough.
yeah. And then the other thing we noticed when we were working on the car is some of the plastic bumper pieces had some stress cracks, and probably could have left them the way they were. But of course, while everything is off, we thought we would fix those cracks, as well as the blower fan underneath the
That was important.
rear deck lid. They're held by the fan. The fan is held by sort of like just imagine like a spider web or spider's
like a
leg.
cage.
Yeah, like a cage. But it's really thin plastic, and half of them were broken.
Yes, that's what I said. That was important because I was on a path of falling down.
Falling onto
probably falling into the
exactly.
belt drive.
Exactly. So what I have, one of my favorite tools, and Manny got to try it out as well, is this plastic welding gun.
Have you used that, Ron?
I have.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
I want to get one. It's all the things that I can put together.
Yep. And basically, it has these metal staples that you put in the prongs of the welder, pull the trigger, and it throws current through the staples and gets it red hot very quickly. And you just kind of lean into the plastic a little bit, and it sinks in. As soon as you get it to the depth that you want, you release the trigger. It stops the current, and everything starts to cool down, and connection is made solid, right? Yeah. And probably stronger than the original plastic.
You need a Dremel with it, too, because you're going to snip off the excess of the staple, and then you want to Dremel off. But very cool, very strong.
Also very inexpensive.
Because your first thought is, well, we just glue it back together. But that's probably not going to solve the issue. This definitely makes it a lot stronger.
Yeah, and I had another use for that where do you know the ET light on the back of my 87 911 on the spoiler? It looks like a little ET. So those little plastic, where the bolts go into, the plastic pieces, they get brittle and they break. Even though they have, what's the piece that the bolt goes into? Not the nut, but it's kind of like a nut, but it's like mounted into the plastic.
A captive nut.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
anyways,
sure
so they kind of just like break into pieces. Mm-hmm. And a new ET light is not cheap. I think they're like $450, $500. So a great way to fix that is usually the pieces will break, but they are still all there. They're still sitting there. So you put all the pieces back together, use the plastic welder, and it's even stronger than before.
Nice.
Save yourself some money. I mean,
how much that cost?
The ET light?
No, the plastic welder.
Oh, the plastic welder. I think it's like $70. Yeah, not even.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's cheap. But we'll throw up a link.
Yeah.
And so you know exactly how much they cost. So,
anyways, you can go to PCA.org if you want to read the article about. But if you're regularly listening to the podcast, you probably heard about these or saw this on YouTube. But it's just a compilation of tools that Vu has bought that he's trying to write off by us.
Look, I've paid for them all, so at least I can share with the world to make me feel better that it was a good.
Tell Luann, this is why I gotta buy it. They need content.
But if you have a favorite tool that we haven't talked about, maybe share with it down below in the comment section. We would love to read about them. And I guess that's a great segue. If you enjoy the episode, be sure to click like if you're watching us on YouTube, comment, we'll read the comments, and of course subscribe. And Manny, I was just talking about earlier, I'm watching the performance of the podcast. It seems to be tracking pretty strong. We've been doing well.
Right, we have a loyal base of listeners.
Yeah, thank you all.
That listen every, even on a holiday. They were, I think people raced to be the first one to comment or listen.
Awesome. So let's talk about the big news. How many of you were on your computer?
My laptop, so we can.
Yep.
You want to just put it somewhere?
How many of you were on your computer? Was it yesterday?
Yes, because
I
was driving in. And I forgot it was. I totally forgot about it, and I saw Damon's text saying 5 minutes before it starts, and I quickly switched over my phone to YouTube and tried not to look at it while I was driving, just listening.
Yes, right. You were listening to it. And I got to say, we reminded everyone last week, either through the podcast and or through eBreak News, to make sure to tune in on Porsche's YouTube channel, which I did, and it was the unveiling world premiere of the Hybrid 911 GTS, but also just 992.2, the standard Carrera.
Exactly. So they unveiled the new base Carrera and using the Cabriolet model, and also the new GTS. So that means the Turbo S, GT3R, all these other cars have not received the mid-cycle update. And I'm going to say they haven't received it yet. We're probably going to see more of those cars throughout 2024, making the leap from the current gen 992.1 to 992.2. But for now, base car, we'll start with that because might as well.
Before we get into the car, can we say we all appreciated when we logged on at, 9 o'clock?
Yep.
Really they jumped into the car.
I know. I thought to myself, oh, I'll be my desk by the time they get to the meat of this because they're going to spend 20 minutes doing some other stuff.
No, they got right into it.
I was a little disappointed. I'm thinking it's going to be the hybrid, and then it's a Carrera Cabriolet, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, how many cars are we going to have to wait to go through before they get?
Was Bogdan serious when he commented it looks the same?
Yeah.
I mean, they do look very similar. You'd have to.
Well, that's Porsche. It's Porsche. It always does things very subtle.
Evolution.
Yeah.
Right. Evolution. Anyway, so back to
start with the Carrera because
Carrera.
That'll go by pretty quickly. They've upgraded the engine, so the Carrera and presumably the Carrera S, when the .2s come out for those cars, will retain the 3-liter twin-turbo flat-six. In the Carrera, it goes from 379 to 388 horsepower, and I believe a little bit more torque, and that's because they used the GTS turbos for the old GTS, the current one that before the announcement yesterday. The base car gets those turbochargers, and also there's one more thing that I'm not reading the article.
Bigger brakes.
Bigger brakes.
Yeah. So 331 pound-feet of torque.
Yep.
0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. And if you get the Sport Chrono package, 3.7.
Yeah. No,
that's insane. That's
quick
supercar territory from a few decades
But
ago.
the big thing right now is no manual.
So
they haven't said anything about that yet.
I
so
think
I don't
people are
overreacting.
Well, what I'm thinking is they're going to do the same thing they did before and use it for the T. Because this is the base, right?
It is.
The base last year didn't have manual.
No, it didn't.
Automatic.
Yeah.
Or an automatic PDK. So I think maybe with the S, maybe with the T.
So
they bring back the manual.
The S might get a manual. Porsche didn't say. They said that the PDK was standard for the GTS.
Correct.
But they haven't said anything about no manual is coming at all. They haven't said that yet. And I want to stress that because there's always the possibility we know the similar technology from the aftermarket. Vaughn can put a manual transmission with this kind of hybrid. So I'm going to cross my fingers. But for now, PDK only for the GTS, and it doesn't look like manual for the base Carrera.
So
at this point.
I know you're jumping into the hybrid a little bit. So the hybrid has the motor inside the PDK, or the electric motor.
Right.
Yep.
So, which first thing I thought of was like, oh my God, it's already tough enough to work on a PDK, and either by not that electric motors go up very often. It's actually kind of rare, but.
I would think
to me further complicates.
I think the electric portion in the PDK, the motor, is a very simple mechanical piece.
It probably replaces the flywheel.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more of an I don't want to say external piece, but it's a piece that it's not buried inside the transmission. So I don't think it will be as complex as you might think it will be, Manny. But keep in mind, 99% of the people will never even.
I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about when I can afford one.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to work on it.
We should also keep in mind that the 7-speed manuals are based on the PDK transmission. So if PDK has provisions for an electric motor, which it does, then the manual transmission should as well. But we'll see. I did remember after looking up what the other cool upgrade on the base Carrera is. So it gets the GTS turbochargers, but also the turbo's intercooler.
Oh, right.
So that's where you're getting your extra horsepower on that car.
Now, what were they referring to? Like the new matrix lighting with like 32K something?
That's what they've been coming out with.
My eyes
Taycan.
glazed over when I started talking about
the same
that.
thing they've had with the Taycan and the.
So more
the
brighter,
Cayenne,
more
I think.
focused lighting, I guess.
And there was a bunch of settings too. wasn't there?
It's very smart lighting.
Yeah.
Like it has so many different light bulbs in it. That's not call light bulbs, but basically it will prevent blinding oncoming cars while still lighting the road in front of you.
Right. I know that's one of your biggest pet peeves.
The other big thing about these lights is that all of the driving lights are contained within the headlights now. So you're not going to see clutter with driving lights on the front bumper or anything. So
that's a great segue to what I wanted to talk about was how proud I was he had dropped in the presentation the 996 as a tech stepping milestone from going air-cooled to water-cooled to now to hybrid technology. But the reason why I say it was a good talking about the lights is because now the turn signals are inside the main headlight. You technically have the egg yolk.
Yeah, exactly. But without the yellow. So prominent, right?
Let's bring the dictionary out and look up reaching.
Reaching.
Yeah, so small update. That's why it'll look like the current 992.1 to most people, is that it's a very small change. And then the rear end has, I guess the rear license plate area is a little bit higher, so they've sort of tweaked a few things here and there. But
that is one heck of a base car.
Yeah.
Can I say the one thing I was a little disappointed, I know this is in other models too, is Long Gone has been putting the key on the left side, but you still had to at least twist it, kind of like old school. But now it's just push button.
Yeah.
I know it's a little thing, but it's just not.
It looks cheap. I didn't like the look of it. It looked like
Right.
it was tacked on.
Yeah.
I just remember the story that our insider told us.
Yeah.
At the meetings he had in Stuttgart about it was almost came to fisticuffs about how passionate people were
We are
for
passionate
keeping
about it.
that.
It's a little
that-
detail that connects us to the
That's just
past.
what I told Damon. I'm like, it's the little stuff that makes the brand so iconic. And
You know what I say about that?
You don't care. As
I
long
don't
as
care.
As long as,
As long as
I
it's
know.
the
That's,
start
that's,
it goes.
that's who they're listening to. It's his fault.
Yeah.
All right, but let's go into the GTS because the GTS is bonkers, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, anyways.
I got to commend Porsche. I mean, for an engineering company, they really delivered on this car. It's just phenomenal what they've done to. The word hybrid is almost not fair.
Yeah.
because you think of hybrid, you're
They
thinking
should
of
come
a
up with
Prius.
a new moniker for it.
Well, they're trying to do the T-hybrid.
Yeah. No, that doesn't make it better.
So let's back up a little bit, just give an overview. But it's a 992.2 GTS, which is the most performance-oriented version of the Carrera model line, and it has a little electric motor, probably sandwiched between the transmission and engine, probably where the flywheel was. It also has an E-turbo, so one turbo instead of two, and it has an electric motor that can help spin it up and also recuperate energy. And also, it has a 3.6-liter flat six that makes almost exactly the same horsepower and torque as the 3-liter. So this has something to do with how emissions are handled in Europe, and they have to run the cars fairly lean compared to what could be allowed out here in the U.S. But basically, same horsepower, same torque for the most part, but with about 50 or so horsepower electric motor and 110 pound-feet of torque. So that's where you get your 532 horsepower, and I think it's 449 pound-feet of torque.
And I think it's about 120 pounds more.
It's 103 pounds more, according to the North America press release, which means it's 3,516 pounds, or
not nearly as much as we were worried about. That may be
to put it into perspective, it really falls in between 997 turbo and 991 turbo power levels.
Yeah, and it's about 100 pounds less than a current turbo and 100 pounds more than the PDK GTS of the .1 era. So it's a little bit heavier than before, but quite a bit.
And
it's
first
lighter
production
than a
car to harness thermal energy. No other race car has been doing it, but not a production car. So that's pretty cool.
0 to 60 times, a fraction slower than
2.9 seconds.
the Turbo S.
0.3
2.9
faster.
seconds.
Yeah.
Again, supercar territory, and a car that you could probably, not probably, you can drive that.
What's your
anywhere.
0 to 60 in the Triumph?
All day.
So you guys notice where they put the battery?
Yes.
Where the current, there are two batteries
There are
now.
two batteries, yeah. Two
The
batteries.
400-volt battery for the motor sits where your 12-volt
Yep.
used to sit, and then they put the 12 volts behind the front seats in a parcel shelf.
You remember where the battery sat in the Vaughan car?
No, where did it sit?
In the back. They put the new battery or the high voltage battery
in the front
I
area.
thought
believe,
everything
wasn't
was
it?
in the front, but
And then the 12 volt was in the back.
12 volt was in the back. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
it's really an amazing piece of technology.
Yep.
Well worth the use
Yes.
of that.
Yeah.
So, we've seen over the years silly YouTube videos where they try to do an electric power turbocharger and hook up a leaf blower and stuff like that. I mean, not to dumb it down, but an electric motor to force feed, it's got to spin fast enough so that the motor that they're using to do that is just a super level of that sort of joke or that sort of like test that people were trying to do years ago.
Here are my thoughts on the e-turbo motor. It'll spin it up initially, but I don't think the motor is actually forcing the air into the combustion chamber. I think it spins it up, and then the exhaust gases take over. So it's there
keeping
for
the
response.
Yeah, it's doing what you used to do when you drove a turbo. You had to keep
it's priming it,
boost up basically.
but it's not producing the
But
power.
it's a big turbo now.
Yeah.
So it's going to have the two twins that
So it's like an
compensate
assist.
for that.
It's an assist, so when you get on the throttle, the electric motor will spin it up, and then the exhaust gases keep it spinning. And at that point, it can make up to, I think, 11 kilowatts of power.
I think they put almost everything. They've got the air conditioners electric now.
Mm-hmm.
On
Yeah,
this,
no belt drive.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's really, it almost makes the old engine look antiquated with how much they've done with this new engine. It's
Yeah.
And
quite amazing.
to see it in a drag race in the video, it left the previous model in the dust.
Yeah.
I mean, it beat it bad.
So I watched watched a couple of videos of it last night, and one of them they were talking with someone from the factory, and when Jörg Bergmeister ran it and set the record, he finished. He had 0 charge on the battery, and he said that that's him. That's Jörg Bergmeister driving it around the Nürburgring,
Beating on it, yeah.
at as fast as he can. And he said, so for normal traffic, the odds of you depleting that battery are almost impossible. Even on the track, the average person who isn't a Jörg Bergmeister and isn't driving on the Nürburgring probably won't deplete the battery.
Yeah.
But Jörg was doing that as a one lap,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So what about
one long lap?
Well, no, but what if you took that car to a DE and you were doing a 35 minute stint? Would it be able to regenerate enough?
Maybe. So think about it this way: the Nürburgring has straightaways. I mean, 1 or 2 of them are basically like a minute long or so, right? Mm-hmm. So during that whole time, the battery is getting a little bit of charge through that turbo, putting energy, but it's not really it's braking energy, I believe, that's going to recharge the most. So you're not braking a lot at the Nürburgring, so the battery drains. But at a more twisty 2-mile track, or let's say Laguna Seca, you're going to be charging the battery up more frequently, so it'll probably last longer.
We'll
And
find
it
out.
won't
We'll
overheat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing they said. It will not overheat. So the big issue with batteries, of course, is overheating. So it's it's amazing. Like they said in one of the videos, they said people who are afraid of 911 become hybrid have nothing to worry about.
Yeah. And the reality again is, we all love taking our cars to the track, but even us, we haven't done so as much as we used to. And for the vast majority of owners, they'll probably never take it to the track.
And they said the aero kit now, and I didn't see it on the video, but the aero kit provides real downforce, and real
As
aero.
Porsche only does.
But they made a specific point to mention this is the first aero kit that actually gives you. Now, it was almost like, why would you not?
Are you
My
are you
aero kit
saying
doesn't-
my 996 aero kit does not work?
You couldn't tell that your rear sway bar was broken,
And it comes out.
and you want to know.
Wow,
if
how
you can
long
feel
have you been
downforce.
holding that? You've been holding that
Weeks.
for weeks to be able to use it. I just
I wonder
gave
why
you
my
the
car
opportunity.
won't turn in.
No, it was turning
It's
in
missing
too
a
much,
wheel.
and it was the front was lifting up. All right, funny. Now here's the thing that I read this morning that I didn't realize, and it has to do with 2-seater versus 4-seater.
Yeah, so the 911's a 2-seater now, unless you opt for it, which is a no-cost option. But yeah, it comes standard.
But standard as a
2 seats now.
2-seater. Does that change?
So it's like a T then, right?
A T is 4 seats.
Yeah, but
It's 2 seats,
can
but
get-
I think you
you
can opt
get
it
the
back.
elite.
You need
Back in, yeah.
Where are all the legless children going to sit?
But does that change? I'm curious. Does that change insurance wise when your car is a 2-seater versus a 4-seater?
Oh, I don't know.
I would think that the insurance knows you're driving a 911 with 500 horsepower. I don't think that 4 seats are going to fool them.
I have.
Pay
have
no
a
attention
family
to this
vehicle.
arrow.
Porsche is now making money on not selling rear seats and
Charging more to put them back
nothing
in.
to put them back in. Yeah, right. So
Gotta love it.
Here's one for you, Ron, because I know you are a fan. Not to say that you would do this, but you could with your you love a cool beer. I know you love a cool beer. Guess what? The center console of the new 911 is cooled storage. Yeah. So
for cell
when
phones.
when you get to your destination, you can enjoy your
Have a
beer.
beverage. Yeah.
Yeah, and what smartphones and inductive phone charging, as new cars all have. Yeah, what do you think about the screen display?
I mean,
It's very
it's going to
Taycan-like.
happen to everybody. So I mean, I don't really have an opinion on that. Like whatever they give us, as long as it works,
As long as it works.
it's fine by me.
Yes,
You know?
it's. I mean, they've already pretty much told us they were going to be doing this with all the other cars. So it's nothing that's earth-shattering. The thing that I thought was interesting was the different slats in the front.
I was going to say that. I'm
It's very functional.
very functional.
Very
yes.
functional.
Active.
Active, yes, and you see in the video how they open and close, which they've been doing, but it's usually behind the slats, so it's not as pronounced as it is. With these
So
Now they have those front slats, more slats behind, and then active diffusers for brake cooling and sort of adjusting that.
So the slats that you see, those are fixed, and there's the ones behind them.
The slats that you can see are active.
Do they
the
move as
slats
well?
behind those are active, and then the two front diffuser areas, probably similar to the GT3 RS, but I haven't seen it under the car. Are also active. So the front end arrow for radiator cooling, brake cooling, all that is active all the time, and figuring out what's going to get you the best fuel economy or the most power
or cooling
or coolant.
I so hope that we have one of these for Tech Tactics next year.
Oh yeah,
I mean, like I said, hopefully with the engine cutaway or something with the turbo that we can take a closer look at.
Definitely. All right. Anything else with the 992.2 that you found interesting that we want to talk about?
No,
We're good.
just exciting.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's to see what else they come out with, like Damon said, in the rest of the lineup.
How about pricing? Did you guys see the pricing?
160 something, I think.
Yeah.
Starting the cab starts at 130 something.
You're talking about the base
GTS
model?
The
Yeah.
2025 911 Carrera starts at 120, 100,
Yeah.
and this is before the, I think, almost
A
$2,000.
prize to someone who can find one for 120.
Yeah. And then the GTS coupe, see here, starts
164.
at 164, 900.
So that's starting. So with your a few options, that's a 175, 180 car
Easy.
plus tax and tags. That's a $200,000 car.
Yeah. Wow. They're expensive.
That is not cheap. So Manny, that's why you were wondering about the how easy it was to work on these cars, because we got to wait a while before we own them.
Oh, sure. I'll like this. I'm looking 10 years. Will I be able to replace this motor?
Yeah. All right, so let's go into what we did this past weekend. I'll let you start, Manny.
Cars and Coffees. And we went to Hunt Valley Cars and Coffee on
Finally,
Saturday.
good weather in Maryland on a Saturday.
Yes, and fortunately, you had your little Mikey and Mel thing going the same day, or same morning, because that helped spread the enthusiasts around, because Hunt Valley was almost at capacity. There's actually 4 Cybertrucks.
Wow.
3 of them, I guess, body color, stainless steel.
Stainless steel, yeah.
And the other one, purple.
Oh, shout out to Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt
Felmar.
Felmar,
I think he wrapped that one.
Yeah, they were telling you how hard it was to wrap because of the edges. It's hard to the way you got to fold it over so acutely, and it doesn't stick sometimes.
When you said that, I thought it would have been the opposite, because there's so many flat panels. I thought it would be easy to wrap, but it's the edges that's hard.
Yeah. I think the flat panel is easy. It's the edges and whatnot. But we've talked about this. Nothing new. People noticed the build quality. It was so apparent on these Cybertrucks, just the gaps. And I wish they would hire somebody from Toyota to give them kind of like Porsche did. Remember when Porsche hired a guy from Toyota to make them more efficient? And I think that's what Tesla needs is someone in production to help them with their build quality.
But don't you think that is just a given when you hire somebody that's in charge of your production? That
I think
gaps or
that
anything?
Tesla is okay with this build quality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I'm thinking. They're going to make the gaps that perfect. It's going to cost that much more money. The people that are buying these cars don't care about gaps. So
Well, it's not like they're wasting money on design, so at least they could do a better production.
You say that as an enthusiast that may not like a Cybertruck, but what I think Cybertruck people like how funky and odd that it is.
I've been seeing some videos of there's so many influencers who bought or been borrowing other people's. There's one Hoobie's Garage. He bought one and drove it over to his mechanic, the Car Wizards.
Oh, and when Wizard started taking it apart,
Yeah, the windshield wiper tank and pump was disconnected, and so it wouldn't really spray onto the windshield. But anything that comes down through the windshield will go into this hole or this gap, and all of the windshield washing fluid, which wasn't on the windshield, it just sprayed and soaked all the sound deadening material.
Oh no!
In between the fender and the inner body structure. So
yeah, I don't want to turn this into a
There's-
Cybertruck bashing.
I'm going to wait until all the problems are uncovered.
I will say, if you have a business, it's a great car to advertise. Wrap it with your business name, because they were getting a lot of looks at Cars and Coffee.
So what's the load rating? Is it like a 1,500 or less than that?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
The
It
towing
looks
capacity?
pretty heavy
The
duty.
towing capacity,
No.
just load capacity.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what that chassis. I mean, if you look at it, you think it's a 3500.
Yeah.
Because it's so heavy duty looking, but the bed is so tiny. I don't know. It's a good question.
We'll look it up.
I don't know how many people are buying it for load capacity, but it is people look at it.
And
for sure.
And there were 4 of them at the Cars and Coffee
Yeah.
Yes,
this weekend.
Yeah.
4 of them.
Wow.
Hey,
The purple one stood out because, and it didn't look like a wrap. We complimented Kurt because we thought it was paint,
yeah.
but it was a wrap.
And I
It was done
believe
very
the
well.
owner, when he or she dropped the car off with Kurt, did not specify what color they wanted.
Hopefully they weren't Redskins fans.
Because
Purple's Ravens.
oh, Ron's eyes lit up.
He's Steelers. No one's gonna wrap their car in, what is
Black
it,
and
yellow
yellow?
and black?
That's
Black
correct.
and yellow.
I would.
The last place colors.
Yeah, for us down in Maple Lawn at Mikey and Mel's, we had a full house. You scared me a bit because you said that Hunt Valley was not happening last week.
Yeah, it was a week off.
Which
that happened
meant,
the following
which
weekend.
meant, the potential of all those people coming to Mikey and Mel's. And, I'm grateful for how many people come. But even with the 2 shows going on this past weekend, because there's been so much rain on the weekends, there was pent-up demand to go to a show, and we still had probably 800, 900 cars. We filled up our main lot and 2 satellite lots. And, it is great to have a lot of people.
How many times were the police called?
Only once, and I'm going to get on my little soapbox here. Please do not park in handicap spots at a car show if you do not have handicap placards. And to make it even worse, they park it in the little crosswalk where people that has all the lines. It clearly says "Do not park." And anyways, no one was, or police weren't called for anything else other than that. And I went and spoke to the police officer, and I said I made an announcement. The police officer was really nice. They were like, "Oh, we love what you do here, and I really don't want to ticket this car." And I said, I made an announcement twice. If they don't move the car, and also when people come in and park the cars, I say don't park in handicap because Howard County's gonna come through and ticket. So it's all all is fair, and that's it's a tough way to learn something. And I don't know if they actually got a ticket. If they didn't get a ticket, you're welcome.
Well, that's because that spot is like an oasis.
Yeah.
You pull into Mikey and Mel's and you can't find spots. You see one open,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, score.
No, do not do that. Do not do that. And it's just not a good look for us. I mean, for the car community just to ignore that.
So on Sunday, I went to another Cars and Coffee, much smaller, and a friend of mine, Scott Reese, he has a '73 TR6.
Aha.
Yeah, and so he wanted to ride in my 914, so we went up the road. He really loved the 914, so I said, well, give me a ride in the TR6. And,
Here we go.
I did not realize how narrow those cars are.
Yeah.
I just they seem more narrow than the 356.
He's going.
Oh,
is
yeah,
the-
yeah.
Is the car narrow or are you wide?
you're like Kate Moss, right?
if you could only see Rod's face and like checking Manny out.
Right.
Listen, Mister 6 beers a day.
5.
Five is down to
He's down to 5. He's trying to stay heart healthy.
Anyways, back to the topic. Yeah, I didn't realize how narrow they were inside. I mean, it was like I think he felt more narrow than a 56, and he had his modified. I think he said it was about 165 horsepower.
That would have been, yeah.
Yeah,
They're like what, normally 130?
but a lot.
Not even
Less than that.
Less
Really?
than that,
Really?
Yeah. The U.S. one, or I mean the Europeans that were mechanically injected.
Yeah.
with that.
No, his is
Okay.
carburetor.
Yeah, well, all the U.S. cars were carbureted, so it's like 110. The interesting thing about Triumphs is the frame. The width of the frame is the same on a TR2 as a TR6.
Wow, really?
Wow, that's why it's so tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the outside, I just didn't look that narrow until I got in. I was like, wow.
So you were saying, Manny, and my hunch is it's gearing, but you were saying the 160 horsepower TR6 pulled not as hard as your 914.
914 felt quicker.
Really? Is it because of gearing, Ron? Like, shouldn't a 160 horsepower TR
But it weighs more.
pull hard?
I think he said it weighs about 350
Yeah, it's got more torque. It has to.
It has to.
Yeah.
I think he's
dreaming.
dreaming.
You haters.
Well, you got what, 80 horsepower?
It has drum brakes in the rear. Not that helps with acceleration, but it's a 4-wheel independent suspension on this.
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
Sophisticated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when was the TR2 chassis made?
54.
Oh, I was going to say before World War II.
Yeah.
Made out of wood or steel or what?
It's rusted, so it's all steel.
It's made out of rust. It does have that beautiful wood dash, and the shifters like kind of.
But its car was getting more looks than my car was. From the women. It's a baby blue color to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good look.
Everyone sees a
Wait,
914, right?
You took the 914 out that day too? Okay.
Well, what do you think I gave him a ride in my 914?
Oh, I thought he drove it before. I don't know. I didn't know you took it out Saturday.
And it started?
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
It always starts. Fuel injected. One turn of the key, my man. No pumping, no getting fuel in the bowls and all that. Just turn the key and turn it on.
Where's the fun?
Yeah. So, how about you? Did
Yeah, I autocrossed, so dry autocross.
Nice.
On my
With who?
SECA.
Oh, no.
Yep, so down in
Tough
Waldorf, Maryland. So I did well. I got I think I was 24th overall out of 120-ish people, 130. So not too bad. I placed about where I usually did, but the differential was amazing. It definitely has changed. Yeah, and that's warranted there.
Yeah.
It definitely changed how the car feels on the limit. You can feel the diff working when you're driving the car very hard. And I guess the main thing is that it seems to multitask better. So let's say you're on a fast sweeper that's a decreasing radius. You can ask more of the throttle right up until the point where you need to slow it down to make that tighter turn. I'm thinking of one turn in particular, and it was just beautiful. And I knew that I was still leaving. I could have pushed harder, is what I'm realizing, and that'll be for next autocross.
And you were able to run your sticky tires this time.
Yeah, I ran the sticky tires and handled. The handling was better than on my rain setup or my street setup on that rainier day or wetter day. So yeah, very happy.
How did you do in class?
First, because I'm the only one in DSP.
Congratulations.
Class of 1. Yeah, no, it's my car and
You need
SEC.
to add that.
Yeah.
So
As long as you say DSP champion, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
3 years. Well, Al Pacheco was DSP champion last year because he was like
You two were in the same class?
No, he's in a new class this year. He's in STH. But so my car 3 years ago qualified for STR. Now with the caveat that I had my lightweight flywheel, which I didn't realize wasn't allowed. But if I didn't, would qualify for STR. Last year, STU. This year, it doesn't qualify for STU or STR, but it does qualify for DSP, which allows Hoosiers, which means
There's so many classes.
My class.
I can't keep up with.
DSP D Street prepared or
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot like these street touring classes in a lot of ways. So they allow some mods, but not a ton. Then they allow more body mods if you are allowed to do full prep. The Cayman is limited prep, so I can't do.
what's the hot car in D class? D Street prepared.
my car because I was the only one. I'm not even quite sure because some Miatas are CSP. So, yeah, I don't know. But heavily modified body is allowed for certain cars. Very light engine mods, stock internals, but then you can throw on whatever tire you want.
Can the sway bar list wonder at running DSP?
He could if he wanted. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. DSP is like a big catch-all class. Like, you have Porsches from all eras that qualify for that. So 981s qualify for DSP if they have those mods. 987s, 718s, 991s, 997s. So it's a catch-all class in that sense.
So
But not competitive.
R-Cross active in SCCA? Sounds like it.
Oh, yeah. At least in this area, the DMV area, as we like to call it, is really, really active.
Really strong. Yeah.
You could autocross every weekend easy.
Yeah. Because you got Susquehanna up north a little bit in Pennsylvania. You have, what is it, Philadelphia region?
Yeah, all the way from Ripken on down.
Yeah.
Then WDCR.
Waldorf was the Regency Stadium.
Yep.
That's a nice lot. Yeah.
That's the Frederick Key. That's not a Frederick Key.
No, that's
the who's that?
base
Blue
on?
Crabs.
The Blue Crab.
Yeah.
Bowie
The
Base
other-
House.
That was a stretch of a name, wasn't it?
That's Bowie. That's closely.
Sure.
But yeah, it's one of those minor league baseball
I think I
teams.
was at every minor league stadium autocross there was in the area.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to autocross when we get back from Parade because thankfully the motor and transmission is
Finally.
into the 996.
I'll be doing mine on Saturday, so we get back Friday from Greenwich Concourse,
Yeah.
and I go autocross on Saturday.
Oh, are you?
But you're not going to be there?
No. When I get back from Greenwich,
He's got his 100-mile bike
I
rider.
got my 50-mile bike
Oh,
ride.
And how much have you been training for it?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know what my award for finishing this 50-mile bike ride is? We end up at Guinness. So I will be drinking one, hopefully in your honor.
But that also means you got to go back.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Good luck on that.
Yeah. That means I have to go back.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
How far is it from Guinness to back to Columbia?
I don't know. It's not. We're not riding from Columbia to Guinness. It's a 50-mile course with like thousands of people. So I just have to follow the person in front of me.
Yeah, but when you leave Guinness, there's not 1,000 people going back.
I don't know. I mean,
He'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. I just know I got to be in the
Bunch
parking
of
lot.
drunk bicyclists.
Hear it now.
I just
Yeah.
know I need to be there at 7 a.m. Get on my bike and ride at 8. And
Gonna look out my house. I'm gonna see Boo riding down the court.
Yeah, right.
With a beer.
Yeah. And Gregory's coming, and he has equally prepared as I have, so it's gonna be pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I'm thinking about going to Katie's on Saturday.
Oh, what time are you gonna leave? Like,
5.
You probably should just come home with
Not
me
go to sleep.
Friday.
But I was
Friday
telling
evening.
Rich because he's trying to get off because he's always wanted to go there.
Yeah.
So I said, well, Hunt Valley's closed.
Yeah.
And
He'll
Bob
probably
Miller
be
and
packed.
Scott are going to Summit, but I don't feel like driving all the way to Summit just to watch them.
Mm.
So I thought, hey, it's perfect time for Katie's
Yeah.
because it's early in the morning. It's not traffic's not that bad.
Super early in the morning. Like, be there by.
Oh, they get there
6:30.
dark. Oh,
Some
I think
people get-
6:30 is probably
Some people
late.
get there, before it's even sunlight.
Oh yeah, you see pictures. It's all in the dark.
Yeah.
What a hobby.
Yeah. So yeah, the motors, the engine's back in, and I've ran it a couple of times, just kind of checking for things. There, it's not a perfect world because there's this every time I've come to the car after running it for a bit, I've got like one little bit of fluid in this one spot, and it's. You know how you just swipe it with your finger and you smell it and try to figure it out, or run the tips of your fingers. It's not 100% that it's oil, and it's not brake fluid because it's a little bit thicker than brake fluid. So it's either hydraulic fluid or oil, and I'm still trying to determine what it is. And I haven't put it up in the air to see where it's coming from.
When he's not looking, I'm putting pancake syrup on the floor.
Maybe it's you. Is it you that's putting this spot every time? Because that's what you did to Goot Yeah, but the car sounds incredible, smooth. I drove it around the block. Coolant temperatures is rock steady. Yeah, idle's good. I did get a check engine light initially, but I reset it. And I think a lot of times when you disconnect the car and you got to run through a couple of cycles because get all the sensors all synced up.
As long as it doesn't come back.
Yeah, exactly.
He literally got it done with minutes to spare because we were packing the pods that day.
It was all well scheduled, as my wife will say.
So he was working and you guys were packing?
Oh no,
We had to have it done because we had to.
No, I had
take
to get the
stuff
car
through
out,
that
yeah.
for the work area. So that morning he got in here early for anybody else to finish up and
Finished
pulled
it.
the car out. And then like 10 minutes later, we were starting to load up.
Yeah, and it's done. I am happy that it didn't take 6 months to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
No. So, all right, let's get into Porsche Parade, Birmingham, June 9th through 15th.
So when people listen to this, we're going to be about a week away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this comes out Monday. We're leaving Wednesday, or Thursday, excuse me, the whole crew. I thought about this. I thought that plane goes down. Ron's going to have a lot of work to do because you're the only one closest to the office.
Well, I'm driving, so
All
be
right,
good.
Damon. So Damon and Ron will have a lot to do.
If you can
All
find
right.
us. Yeah.
So what goes? Birmingham,
Birmingham.
downtown.
Downtown.
I take it that Birmingham is not the size of Baltimore.
No.
So it's a small.
Yeah, don't ask me the populations of
I'm
the
not going to ask
smallest.
your population.
Yeah.
But we're located right across from the convention center,
Yep, right downtown.
split with two hotels that are
The sh-
adjacent to the convention center.
They are. They're linked together.
The Sheraton and the Weston.
Yep. Yep.
They have walkways.
There is. There's an aerial walkway. So it's a very walkable area down there. And for you UFL football fans, the stadium for
That's true.
I was about to say, what's UFL? United Football League or something?
Ooh.
Am I right?
How can you
I'm
go,
impressed.
How can you go wrong with the FL part?
And there's only so many U words that I know.
Yeah.
They consider Universal or United.
But it's interesting. I mean, there's a big football culture down there. University of Alabama and the SEC.
I didn't realize they had a UFL.
Huh?
They had a UFL.
Yeah, that stadium across the street is the Birmingham Stallions, I think.
I love how you're looking at me expecting me to have an answer.
I know. I should put the ceiling. Right. But
Well, that was the name
yeah.
Baltimore had when we were part of the CFL. You know what C stands for?
Central Football?
The Canadian Football League.
Oh, Canadian.
The Baltimore Stallions.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So anyway, there's pictures. I mean, there's statues for Paul Bear Bryant. So I mean, if you're a football fan, it's a big culture. Let me look at the wall. Never mind, dude.
They're
Like
just
talking
laugh-
to your
Why?
cat.
Why am I even?
For those of you that are not watching YouTube, they're looking at me laughing because they know I.
Well, I think that maybe Manny knows a little bit about football, but I think
Yeah.
Boo and I.
I know. Why do they only
You
laugh
know-
at me?
you never heard of-
You know just as little.
You never
as I
heard of
do.
Bear Bryant? You ever heard the term Go Bama?
I've heard Go Bama.
All right.
Yeah.
Actually, he coached at the University of Maryland for 1 year.
Did he?
Yep.
I didn't know that. Head coach?
Yep.
No kidding.
1 year.
Wow. Learned something new.
There we go.
Mm.
That's why you came
Very,
today.
very famous college coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Never mind that. Yeah. No, Birmingham. It's interesting. It's kind of a bittersweet thing because we did Birmingham in 2019. We did the site selection, and in 2020, when we were taking Palm Springs down because of COVID, we were planning Birmingham. So it was kind of an interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Dynamics there. So Birmingham's been on the calendar since 2020, actually. So we're excited.
So the only time I stayed in Birmingham was for the time I went to the sport driving school at Barber.
Yeah.
And I do remember they had good food. So we're looking forward to
Oh
that.
yeah, definitely good food.
And well, like I said, Barber is how far from
It's fairly close.
Yeah.
20 minutes?
20,
maybe?
30 minutes or something.
Yeah,
like
let's
that.
say half an hour.
So then you have the Barber Museum.
Yeah.
A lot of great driving roads. But the Concours, which is like the crown jewel of Parade, is going to be held at now, the first description I heard, it didn't sound very appealing. It was underneath the interstate.
It is.
It technically is.
It is,
But
yeah.
it's
When you put it that
beautiful.
way, it doesn't
Yeah.
sound.
When we
Like it
first
is.
went down there, it was just, it was just concrete underneath a road. But somebody in Birmingham had the foresight, the CVB or someone, and they called it City Walk. So they've transformed that area into, a destination in
It's
downtown
beautiful.
Birmingham. It really is. Really is.
And I like, we do many of our events on grass at golf courses, which can lend themselves to be beautiful, especially when we're in Palm Springs with the mountains and stuff like that. but this urban setting, this
Yeah.
city walk, is going to create some beautiful images.
Yeah.
It will.
It will. Is it on grass or is it on
No.
concrete?
No,
Concrete.
it's
All concrete. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought it was like a park underneath.
Nope.
Well,
I mean, it is a park,
It
but
is
it's
a
a
park.
concrete park. It's an urban park.
So this is like right around the
Right next to the hotel.
right next to the hotel.
you
Right
can
next
walk
to-
out of
nice.
the Sheridan, I
Yeah.
guess.
And
Yeah, right-
what's
right
nice
there.
is the overpass is over you, which means you have shade.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll be able to utilize it and or park some cars there at night because it's really gorgeous at night when you...
Will they still be there in the morning?
Manny.
I'm just asking.
Because
This is a guy coming from Baltimore.
I know.
That's what I'm asking.
The lighting. They have
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
lighting underneath the
Yeah.
overpass as well.
Yeah,
So-
we were lucky to. Actually, when we went down there, EC went down there and we saw that. That's the first time I had seen it since they renovated it, and it was spectacular.
That's when you decide to do the change up, right? Yeah.
Oh, you mean change locations for the Concours? Where was it going to be originally?
There's a park down there that we were going to do.
Yeah.
So typical grass that.
Yeah.
So when we did this,
This will be much
Because from a photography point of view, it'll
Oh,
be,
yeah.
yeah.
killer.
And we have the convention center for Concours Prep, which makes our
indoor Concours
in-
prep.
indoor climate control.
Oh, for people listening that have never been to a parade or participated in a Concours, everyone says, "Why do you always have parade in the summertime where it's hot?" Like Boob likes to point out, it is hot everywhere. We've held it
summer.
up. We've held it up
Yeah.
in Montreal,
Yeah.
and it was hot. It's just hot everywhere in that time period. So having the luxury of having an indoor Concours prep
Yeah.
is
That
very
is
nice.
the ultimate luxury.
Yeah.
Did I hear that is that also the backup if it's raining?
It will be, right. So
That's
we have
nice,
the
too.
capacity to do the entire Concours inside if it rains.
That's a great. I mean, you
Yeah.
preferably want to do it outside, obviously, but knowing that you can go inside really.
Well,
changes
that will
things up.
ensure that it will not rain.
And keep some nice cars still in the show, because a lot of times if it's outdoor and it's raining, the people with the really rare cars won't bring them out of their trailers. They stay inside. So.
Yeah. And it'll encourage people to visit the cars while they're being prepped. That's what I love. I know Manny and myself and a couple of folks like to walk in the wee hours of the night after all of our meetings and just see what people are doing.
Yeah.
And you'll see cars on jack stands, wheels off, all sorts of tools that they've brought.
Watching our friend Bob Goutyard polishing with a dirty rag, and his wife yelling at him when she realizes it. Because he doesn't want to go buy a clean one, so he keeps
But it
on
works.
using
So
it.
he does well typically, doesn't he? Or no?
I don't know.
Does he normally?
We won't get into this.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have asked that question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ellen. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you were. Some of the questions there you were going to ask me. One is when do you view the cars? And I'm like you, Vu. One of the special times for me is to go into Concours Prep and see the preparations on a Sunday or something. So it's
It's a great time to talk
it
to
is
the
a great
owners.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Parade's so well organized. They've been doing it so long that they have a committee. I think they still have a committee whose only job is to provide snacks, drinks, supplies, make sure everything's that people working that area, working on the cars, have. That they don't obviously don't want anybody passing out because they're dehydrated because they're too worried about polishing the inside fender liner of the car. So they keep everyone fully stocked, and it's a great place to socialize. And
It
since
is.
the beginning of the week, it's a lot of people are reconnecting, seeing each other for the first time in a year. But can a non-parade entrant go into Concours Prep? Do you know?
I want to say no.
No,
Okay.
no, they can't.
So what? So if you're just wanting to come watch, you're not registered for parade,
Right.
And this is key because parade, the golden ticket to get inside is the name badge, your parade name badge.
Right.
How much does the PCA membership card get you into?
Well, it'll get you into the parade store all week.
So you can go in. Parade store has items that are almost exclusively just for that week. We have some stuff from the general store, but it's stuff that sells out quickly.
Yeah, yeah, you can go.
So
I
you
mean,
get
you
in
can
there.
walk the halls of either hotel if you care to, and I'm sure there will be displays and cars. But
What about hospitality? Is it good to there?
I think there's going to be one day, probably Monday. Pardon me. The rest of the time, Tech Tactics is in there, so it'll be off limits.
So Monday is the day of the Concours, and it would only make. Usually, the Concours is not that close to the headquarters, and so we're talking about backing up. The hospitality is actually in the convention center.
Yes.
Yeah. So
That's correct.
normally it's one of the hotels where we have everything at, but because the convention center is right across the street from the hotels, the vast majority, our banquets, our parade stores, all in the convention center. So check to see if having just your parade membership card will get you into some of these places. But when people ask me what day should they go, I always say Monday at the Concours.
Yeah, I agree.
So without a doubt, when people show up on a Wednesday, their first question is, "Where's all the cars at?"
Yeah.
And you explain to them, well, there's tours going on, there's autocross, there's a rally, all these other events going on, and they leave early in the morning. So by 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning, there's nothing there. There's hardly anybody there.
Not at the host hotel.
Not the cars, at least. The
Right.
majority are gone. So on Monday at the Concours is when you're going to see the vast majority of the really pretty cars and the rare cars. And I guess if it's held indoors, can they still come in?
I'm sure we'll make allowances for that. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to. So
Yeah. It's,
Yeah,
but hopefully
no.
it's not going to rain, and we'll have that pretty outside. And there's going to be some pretty cool cars.
Oh, yeah.
Show up just for the Concours. Concours is still a big. It's like I said, it's probably the crown jewel event for the parade is the Concours.
A lot of cool cars, but also a lot of cool people. And maybe you will mention some of the VIPs that are going to be there.
Well, the only one I noticed. We have a couple.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in my head now. You put me on the spot. Mark Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
He's confirmed. He is the son of Butzi Porsche, who designed the 904 and the 911. Mark's come to many parades. He's a great guy, very approachable. And I swear, if you talk to him about American cars, he will talk to you for hours. He's a huge fan of American cars. Nothing more embarrassing than him asking us, what cool American cars do you guys own? And
Oh, I got cool American cars.
I just had a Suburban. At least he had the 5.0.
Yeah.
Is it a 5.0?
It is a 5.0.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we have Chris Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be on Overhaul, and he was here at last year's parade. Really fun guy, very knowledgeable. Born with too much of a perfect face for television, but very, very, very approachable.
Saber Cook?
Saber Cook. That's right. Yeah. The Porsche driver. She. What day will she be there?
I think she's there. Is she there all week with us?
the whole week. Yeah.
All week, yeah.
Whole week.
Super.
And then we have Tony Hatter, Grant Larson.
Oh yeah, man, I'm throwing brain fart here. The two designers will be there, Grant Larson and Tony Hatter. For those that don't know, Tony designed the GT1. Was it the Carrera GT? The most recent hybrid before this 911 hybrid was the GT3R.
Tony?
Yeah, Tony Hatter did.
Yeah, and 993,
Yeah.
Carrera GT,
GT1.
GT1.
And Grant, of course, most famous for the Boxster, but he also recently did the GT3R Rennsport edition that was debuted at Rennsport.
And Grant has been incredibly active in our past club cars.
Well, I was going to say he mainly works now with Sunderwunsch, right?
He's head of special projects there.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
And he is an entrant this year and has a car in Concours.
And I told him we would help him clean it.
What car does he have?
Oh, you didn't hear about this one.
Well, it's not like I work here.
So when we were auctioning the Classic Club Coupe at One Porsche Drive, there was this, I want to say, super low mileage silver over the, I don't know what the red. It's not red, but it's like the orangish red, the debut color Boxster. Super low miles. I want to say it was like 2,000 miles or 3,000 miles or something like that. And he doesn't have that car.
That wasn't the one at French Lick on display, the second French Lick, was it?
I think
It's a silver
it is.
car.
The one they had on display was super low miles.
I think it was the same car.
Huh.
Might have been.
Yep. So he now owns it, and
Wow.
he wants to bring it, and he's bringing it to parade,
And then
and
enter
for
it.
fun, he's entering it into the Concours. And I told him, if we're
Did you tell him about our record?
what's that, our record?
Yeah, because we remember we helped Nathan get second place into the
You're
rental
gonna
box.
bring that up.
The Boxster that made PCA changes rules for rental cars. Honestly, I mean, if you get beat by a rental Boxster, just suck it up, admit it that you lost, and move on. Don't go crying to the rules committee.
We did a great job on that.
We
car.
did.
Man,
I remember Lou told me, he said, we're going to help Nathan with this car. I'm like, okay, you got to go. What kind of car? He goes, I don't know. It's a rental.
Yeah. And that's why the rental cars are not allowed.
I know.
so well.
Yeah.
The Hertz has never had a car returned
So cleaner
10
than
times cleaner than when the person took it out.
Yeah.
Even with the fact that our president polished the cloth top.
Oh,
Remember?
Oh, yeah.
It was so dark, Aaron didn't see that he was running the polisher along the.
We're like, oh, no.
the cloth.
We had a good time.
And the was it Aaron who shut the trunk lid on the tire cleaner?
Oh,
Remember?
Oh,
that?
I do
I
remember
think it was
that.
Aaron. I think he didn't realize it was
yeah.
standing up, and he puts it.
And then we hear.
emptied the whole bottle of trunk cleaner in the trunk. Besides all that, he still got second place.
Yeah.
And there was more than 2 cars in the class.
Oh, yeah. We did a good job.
Yeah, there was a lot of big. We
So
were having
hopefully
way
we can
too much
help.
fun
We can-
prepping the
yeah.
car. We got complacent.
Exactly.
because
We're not doing it
We were laughing
to
too much.
to get in a war. We're doing it to make fun of each other while we're.
One light bulb, 175 watt.
We were
light
making
bulb
decisions
working
of
on
should
it.
we take the wheels off or not. I'm like, if you're a true Concord person, of course you're going to take the wheels off. So we took the wheels
This
off.
is 11:30 at night after the welcome
Af-
party.
After the welcome party, we didn't have wheel chocks, and at the time the hotel was renovating the hotel rooms. And I remember we found old telephones that we used as a wheel chock. Safety first.
Well, we could make a phone call.
Ron's like, I'm glad they're telling me this now.
Right.
But
This is-
Florida.
this
It's
is
Florida.
Jack's
Everything's
problem.
allowed in
It's
Florida.
Jack's problem now.
So, yeah. So if you're not registered for parade, look at Monday as the day you want to come.
Yep.
And before you wonder, no, there's no registration on site.
No,
I can hear Levi right now, just like what?
Yeah.
No, it's closed.
I still have to ask him, hey, can I still fit in the autocross? I'll have to see what his reaction's going to be.
It's I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's going to be a great location. I've heard the roads down there are phenomenal for the tours.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Barbie, I don't know. I would love to maybe sneak in and get a ride to the Barbie Museum. Plus, they're doing 2 days of parade laps at Talladega.
Talladega. Yep.
Are your relationship Manny this parade? Right?
I am always relationship man.
Nice answer. Nice answer. Well, Roxanne's coming.
Yes, my wife is coming.
Oh, very nice.
Good behavior, maybe.
I'm single view, so yeah. Lolo's going to a wedding.
Yeah, there's no difference in single boo. And
That's true. There is no difference.
Now, Rook has some great tours lined up, but you're right. I mean, one of the reasons that we selected Birmingham was because of Barber. So we're excited to be able to utilize Barber.
And how long do you? How far ahead are you selecting or starting to look at sites? Like right now, this year, what year parade are you looking at sites for?
We just finished up 26,
Right. And it's starting to look at for 2027.
27.
When you say finish, you already selected.
Yes.
And where's that going to be?
Nope. Nice try. Nice try.
Why, you should let the man speak.
Nope.
North America.
Nice try, Manny.
International?
International.
He said North America, so not
I
Canada.
was going to say Canada's the only choice we have. We haven't had a Canadian parade since '99, I think.
So if you haven't gone to PCA.org and joined, and for all of our newsletters, e-break news, performance news.
I was trying to think if you had been there, and I think, no, you have not.
You're looking at you, not me.
2026 one.
Oh, me?
I don't think you were there.
Where?
Oh, he's
Where-
going to
that's
say
where
it.
the
one
parade
clue.
is gonna
Don't
be?
give him hints.
Oh.
He's going to say it.
That's the one clue.
But well, for those listening, they always jump from East Coast, West Coast, and then Central.
Yeah.
But what they like, what's Alabama considered? Is that a East Coast or Central?
No, that was a southeast.
So it's the East considered East Coast, Alabama.
Yeah.
Next year is Oklahoma City. That's
Central. Right.
Which means and it hasn't been announced yet, right? That
No,
20,
Oklahoma City's been
27 though hasn't been announced.
27.
We will announce 27 this year.
26.
26.
We will announce 25.
It's 2024 now.
Oh, that's right.
Next year's
I'm a year ahead of time.
2025.
You're right.
This
So
is
26.
math.
Manny.
I'm trying to get you confused, like playing poker.
No, Jack will announce 26
Yeah.
as well.
So 26 will be West Coast probably.
That's what it sounds like. If logic,
I mean,
Again,
that's not
if
a
you haven't joined
that's not a
PCA's
secret that we
newsletters-
do it this way. I'm not telling you saying where on the West Coast, because the West Coast could be Montana. That's considered the West Coast, so it's not like automatically California. It just means it's going to be west of Oklahoma City.
Maybe, yeah.
In two podcasts from now, we'll be able to announce it, right?
That is
Ron?
correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
When we're out in, we got to get Ron after a couple beers. Maybe we'll get him after the beer tasting. What day is the beer tasting at Parade? They do
It's
this,
every day, I think.
Every day, right?
they do this beer tasting at Parade, and one of the days that the hospitality for people that are registered is like the best place to hang out because it runs all week, and they usually have non-alcoholic drinks and snacks, but on a couple of days they have a beer tasting and I think a wine tasting maybe too. And I always used to look at the numbers when I was on the EC because it was kind of comical. The amount of people that signed up for the beer tasting, wine tasting was 3-1 versus the 5K. Sometimes 4-1.
And we should not be surprised
We
about
preferred beer drinking over running in the morning. I think Aaron was the only guy that signed up for the 5K, and everyone else was.
that. I run the 5K. I can't believe I ran the 5K in Palm Springs. That could have been.
Did you run the whole thing?
I did, and I felt very tired.
But this year now you have open pipes.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm registered. I'm
Yeah.
running. I'm
There
running.
we go. It's downtown, too, so.
I'll definitely run if someone's chasing me.
Yeah, and you looked at me when I made the question about whether the car is going to be there in the morning.
All right, again, please, if you haven't had a chance to join PCA's newsletters, you can just go online to pca.org. We have performance news, PCA's e-brake news. You can just head up to pca.org and get signed up. And we've been taking some time here, but let's talk about you've got videos and news coming.
I'll do this quickly, but I'm a little bit late on the 993 Carrera RS video that we're doing with TPC. I'm actually going to film the drive for that video right after this podcast, so it will be up by the time you're listening to this. And then also look forward to a Danish Porsche collection filmed by our contributor Axel Catton will be coming up fairly soon.
I like Axel.
Yeah, Axel's
pretty good.
Pretty awesome. And for somebody who doesn't specialize in video, he does a pretty dang good job.
He's just a great personality.
Yeah.
He's very British, almost like, if you can imagine.
Yeah, and I believe Scottish, right?
Scottish did that. The one that salted.
Yeah. And then what you guys have all been waiting for probably several years now is we have a 911 SC model guide by Nathan Mers that will be dropped in. I'm on schedule a couple weeks here, and right before that, as a pair, we will be dropping a 911 SC pre-purchase inspection. So what can you look for to approve or disqualify a car before you pay the money at a shop?
Oh, that's a great idea.
So things you can look
definitely.
at, as a regular
Sure.
car person.
That's a
So
great idea.
we'll drop one on Monday, then the next will be the guide will be on Tuesday, and then e-brake goes out. So sometime in June, as long as I stay on schedule.
Can I get on my soapbox a little bit and talk about how sometimes I love the internet, but sometimes I hate the internet, and that has
You
to do.
Googled your name again, didn't you?
No, what I'm talking about is what I enjoyed watching in person, and then we posted it recently, and it was Rolf's presentation of "Did you know this about your Porsche?" which got some really polarizing comments. And like I said, if you comment, we read them, and it was very interesting to see how some people didn't get his humor or thought it was too basic, but then other
Or
people
didn't watch the whole video. Just
didn't
watched
watch the
like
whole
the
video.
first 10 seconds and then made their
and-
decision.
And I know Manny looked at it, and I'm sure Damon as well. We look at the metrics. It was the amount
Success.
of amount of viewing time on that video was very strong. The number of viewers also performed very well. It's just kind of
The
interesting.
big
to
picture,
see.
it was a almost 97% approval rating, which,
Thumbs up.
yeah, you would think anything else in life, 97% is pretty impressive.
That's an
It's actually
age
low
mile-
for
that's-
us, funny enough.
But the initially, a lot of the comments were negative, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, we were there. The people that were there were just in love with Rolf. They loved the presentation. No one got up and left or went to get a snack. Everyone stayed glued to what he said. Obviously, it's a little bit different when you're watching a video of it. But those who actually did watch the entire video, or the majority of it, I think were the ones who left positive comments.
Yeah.
Because there was something to be learned from everyone. We did put a index or timestamp of the different topics he covered. But Damon and I were talking about this morning, how it's almost a Howard Stern phenomenon. So when Howard Stern was in his heyday, they found out that the average listener was listening to an hour. The average listener who said they hated Howard Stern was listening for 2 hours.
Huh.
So we looked at the listening view time, and it was longer than the people watching the Lake Speed video, which has just gone viral with 30,000 views and all these thumbs up and compliments. But they've watched Rolf's video longer than Lake. So,
Yeah. What happened to the old adage of, if you don't have something nice to say, then don't say
comments are free. Comments are free.
You know what? Hold on to that. It's great for YouTube. Keep commenting.
It is.
We'll take it.
Yeah, it is good for engagement. But I've never, like, if I watch something and I didn't like it, I've never felt compelled to lay in or make fun of the person. Or I'm like, there's a lot of people out there that live this way.
Well, here's my thing. If I say something, I've got to be prepared to argue, you know, and defend my.
Sure.
I don't want to spend time thinking about defending my case for something I watched on the internet.
And yeah,
I don't know.
I kind of feel bad for the people that are so negative. I'm obviously a very positive person, and when I see someone living their life that way, I'm like, oh man.
This is why a lot of the YouTubers tell people who are going into the content creation not to look at the comments.
Yeah, don't take it personal.
Because comments are free. And,
Yeah.
You know, and just pure mathematics tells you the more viewers you have, then it's also going to have your percentage of negative comments may stay the same, but you're going to have more negative comments simply because now there's more people watching it. So it just comes with the territory. It's
Yeah, but we certainly appreciate the comments.
Thanks for watching.
It was constructive criticism.
We love that.
Yeah, like we knew that
Lakes.
like Lakes, when he wasn't repeating the presenter's questions. One of the reasons for that is because Lake could hear the presenter and everyone else, could hear the question, and so could everyone else in the room.
Yeah.
So for Lake, it's he's putting on a live presentation, and he's not necessarily thinking about what's the internet. Can they hear it or not?
Right.
Because he's not wearing headphones like we are right now, where we can hear whether or not you're speaking or Dame is speaking. I can hear it. So
Yeah, and
the second for Rolf's video, we did Damon did a lot of editing where he took out the long pauses while the questions being asked that you can't hear, but Rolf can hear it, and Rolf did a pretty good job of repeating the question. So
yeah, and we do ask each presenter to repeat the questions, but because it's a live setting and they too are engaged in the conversation, sometimes they forget.
And we have a microphone. We tell people please use the microphone, but that's something we got to work on and hopefully train the audience to be better at it, because it is reaching a wider audience than just that in the room. So that kind of constructive criticism we appreciate.
Yeah.
The ones where I can tell they didn't watch the video at all, or they looked at the title. That's anything with EV for some people. They just trigger negative, and they won't even watch the video, but they'll give us their thoughts on EV.
Yeah,
I was a little surprised when it sounded like a Porsche salesperson came in and said, "Man, that presentation was so boring. It's what we had to sit through.
Oh, I saw that.
Learning about the cars to sell them." And I'm thinking, "Oh man, I don't know if I'd want that guy to be my salesperson." But anyway,
so we are recording the sessions on Wednesday at Parade that you'll be able.
I got to get confirmation from. It looks like it. Tony Hatter and Grant Larson, because we did last year too. And the one I'm really looking forward to is mgu-k, the body shop, because I sat on his presentation. It was only like a handful of people because we had
multiple
sessions going on at one time. But he was really fascinating, and I asked Kathy Lee, our contact at Porsche, to bring him back because I wanted to capture this on video so I could share it with the rest of the membership.
Absolutely. You want to touch upon Formula E before we get into the events?
I already forgot what we were going to talk about Formula E. Let's see.
Formula E commits to...
Oh, yeah. So they're good for 2030.
Oh, wow. That's quite a commitment.
Yeah. That's... whether you love it or not, you look like a Formula E fan, Ron.
Oh, yeah.
Who's your favorite driver?
That's like me in
say
sports.
The Costa.
Yeah,
the
that's like me in
Costa.
sports.
Doing football, yeah.
All right.
But Porsche is staying on with, and they've done very well this year. Hopefully, you can win the manufacturers championship. So they've signed on for another 6 years.
Let's talk about Works Reunion Monterey at Monterey Pines Golf Course. Registration is open, and registration is going strong, and that event is Friday, August 16th.
You didn't talk about the Nürburgring.
You didn't put it in here.
Didn't I put it in there?
Oh, you did. It's underlined. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
So six. It's this weekend. So by the time you hear this, it will have already been over. It's the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. Can you imagine if they still did the Marathon de la Route, which was 84 hours? Now that would be fun to watch. That had to be. Can you imagine how much beer was consumed at the
I knew that was
Nürburgring?
going to go there. I just knew it.
84 hours, Ron. Is that heaven for you? Is that what you think heaven is?
Pretty close.
Racing,
That's
beer,
what he's hoping heaven's gonna
barbecue. It's like an international language. 130 cars started. Yeah, exactly. It's like you nonstop racing. Even on a course as big as the Nürburgring, they use the full course, not the Grand Prix course. Like I said, by the time you listen to this, go on YouTube and look for the highlights. Usually that's the best way to watch it. But 6 of the GT3Rs are going to be competing, including Montai. So hopefully Porsche will take victory in that. And next podcast, hopefully we can report that Porsche gets another win at the Green Hell.
There you go. PCA has its own 24-hour endurance race, and that's going to be June 29th through 30th. You can check that out on PCASimRacing.com. We've got over 120 people heading out to Alaska after Parade. Looking forward to that. We just announced that we have a pre-event for those of you that are registered to go to Alaska. If you get in a day earlier, it's not mandatory, it's optional. But if you do come a day earlier, Nathan and Susie Mers will be opening up their collection and greeting some of our members. I doubt that we would get all 800 people coming, and that's probably unmanageable for...
How do you register for that?
Melanie's going to put something up where you can click off that you want to go, and we'll
How are you going to transfer people there?
You got to get there on your own. That's the thing. It's completely optional. All right, let's talk about the PCA Insider web store. If you want to get your bottle, if you want to get a T-shirt or a mug, head to the PCAwebstore.org, and you can do that. And if you want to get a PCA Insider decal, you can always do so by sending an email to us at podcast@pca.org. And with that, we are well over our limit, but it was totally worth it. Anything else before we wrap this up, gentlemen? Ron, thank you for joining us today. Thanks for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, grab your VIN and head over to PCA.org and get signed up as an official member. If you don't currently own a Porsche, check out our test drive program. Again, head to PCA.org and you can register for the test drive program, where we'll unlock all sorts of resources and help you find that Porsche for your driveway and or garage. Remember to follow the PCA Podcast Instagram page, behind-the-scenes photos, videos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word. Email us at podcast@pca.org. And again, we'd love it if you click that like button, comment, and of course, subscribe while on YouTube. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.